So cooking sous vide is toxic as fuck. Cooking your food in plastic, aka sous vide, that's really toxic. But even if you don't cook sous vide at home, and not a lot of people do, chances are you probably have eaten food cooked in plastic recently. Most major fast food and like fast casual restaurants like Panera, TGI Fridays, Chipotle, they do cook their food in plastic. There's studies showing that lots of microplastics get into your brain, right? This is actually not new. However, there was a recent study that just came out. The amount of microplastics in the brain samples contained on average about 10 to 20 times more than other organs of the body. In fact, some of the brains had, according to weight, they were 0.5% plastic. And all plastic is toxic because it has two big problems. You have those microplastics, right? Cancer, accelerated neurodegeneration, high blood pressure, increased risk of heart attack, stroke, all of that. But you also have all the chemicals that come out of plastic. But your average sous vide bag, that's going to be made out of either high density or low density polyethylene or polypropylene. So polyethylene has 722 chemicals in it that are known to be hazardous to human health. And polypropylene has 633 hazardous chemicals used in its production. The people that defend eating food cooked in plastic, one of the things they'll say is that just because a chemical is present doesn't mean that it's actually going to leach out and cause you harm. But a recent study actually tried to answer that. They tested food-safe plastic, and yeah, 73% of the chemicals leached out. A lot of people also argued that sous vide isn't super hot, and so therefore it's not a risk. But y'all, like, all plastic leaches its chemicals and microplastics for a lot of different factors. It's not just heat, and many of these chemicals that leach into your food are non-monotonic, meaning that small amounts of this chemical actually have bigger impacts on your body than large amounts, right? This study found that the chemicals leaching from a Ziploc bag induced non-monotonic responses. I truly never understood the reason why anyone would defend eating food that's cooked in plastic, because it's pretty easy to avoid. Want to try and eat as fresh and unprocessed as possible. And most of the restaurants that cook food in plastic, they're typically cooking meat and not much else. So Panera does their chicken, mac and cheese, and some of their soups in sous vide, but everyone else is pretty much just the meat. There was a recent study that looked at lots of different types of fast food, and the highest amounts of chemicals from plastic were in the chicken burritos, obviously from Taco Bell, and hamburger meat. So it's yet another reason to avoid maybe fast food or fast casual restaurants, which don't have the healthiest food anyway to begin with. And if there's a creator out there straight up telling you that it's totally safe to eat food in plastic, you might want to think about how much plastic is actually in their brains.